Hi there, thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is ELA mini lesson number 13. We are going to get into this thing called metaphors. We've talked about it before, but we're going to go a little more in depth on what they are and hopefully find them in our water sky text. So grab your text, grab your packets, and let's get started. Here we go. Alright, so when we're talking about the word metaphor, what we're doing is we're finding a direct comparison between two things. Usually these things are not similar, but we're combining them together to kind of create a new saying. It is saying one thing is something else, even though it literally is not. So, metaphors are examples of non-literal language. So when you are literally saying something is similar, it's not actually similar. So some examples that we've kind of seen or heard over the years, you are a star, or you're a star. So you're not actually a star that's in the sky, but I'm saying you're a star. That is a piece of cake is something that we say a lot, saying something's really easy, but we're comparing something, something being to a piece of cake. So you're taking two things, connecting them together to make them similar. Ugly duckling is also a metaphor because we are comparing something being ugly to a duckling for some reason. I don't know why. You might hear this one a lot right now. You're a couch potato. So the couch and the potato, putting them together to create this metaphor where you're directly comparing the two things. He is a night owl. So comparing this person to a night owl stays up late at night. So they stay up late at night. And you are the apple to my eye. This is a really old saying, basically saying you are amazing, you're like an apple to me. So what is really important about metaphors is identifying the two things that they're comparing and trying to find out why they're being compared together and what they're trying to say literally, even if it's not literal. All right, so we're going to try and find two metaphors in our text and see how that helps us read the story a little bit more. Let's go. Okay, so we are going to turn to our close reading packet page. This page, it says, the directions say read paragraphs 2 and 9 of Water Sky. What metaphors can you find? Write the two metaphors in the chart. How do you know it is a metaphor, and how does it help you understand the text? Okay, so it's told us the two places we're going to find a metaphor. Then we're going to explain how it's in a metaphor, and then how does it help us understand the text. So the first one we're going to find is go to paragraph 2. What I want you to do is take your time, read paragraph 2, and see if you can find the metaphor. It's really hidden in there, so go see if you can find it. Go. Alright, so you should have reread the paragraph, and I'm going to tell you what the metaphor is. The metaphor is in the third sentence, and it starts right here. Okay, it says, wrapped in an Arctic whiteout. So that's the metaphor that we're going to focus on first. So turn to your close reading, turn to your packet, go to your graphic organizer, and for metaphor, we are going to copy and paste that sentence, which is wrapped in Arctic whiteout. Go. Alright, so you should have written down the metaphor. It says wrapped in an Arctic whiteout. I put quotation marks because we're copying and pasting, and I put the paragraph number, which is paragraph 2. Okay, so why is this metaphor? So remember, metaphors is where you're drawing two direct comparisons between two things, and you're saying something is something even if it's literally not it. So in this paragraph, what is happening is Lincoln has arrived to Alaska, and a blizzard comes, and what this paragraph is doing is describing the blizzard. Suddenly a cloud of frozen fog is swirling around him and everything turns white. So the sentence is wrapped in an Arctic whiteout. Okay, so the kind of word that points us to a metaphor is this word wrapped. Because when you think of being wrapped, you think of like a jacket being wrapped around your shoulders, you think a blanket being wrapped up around you, or even like your parents' arms wrapping around you to give you a hug, or somebody giving you a hug, wrapping them in your hug, okay? But those are not the things that we connect to a blizzard happening. Basically what it's saying is a blizzard is surrounding this new person and it's all white. So how do we know it's a metaphor? It is a metaphor because somebody is being wrapped around in white when you're not actually wrapped up, right? So you're not wrapped in white, you're just surrounded. So wrapped is like another word for surrounded, but it's kind of creating this more visualizing idea where it's like everything is white. So you're completely surrounded by white. So for how is this a metaphor on your graphic organizer, just talk about how you cannot actually be wrapped, because it's not really literal, right? It doesn't follow the literal explanation, kind of like what we did yesterday. What is happening is this person is being surrounded by whiteness, but they use the word wrapped, which is super important. So how is this a metaphor? It is a metaphor because the person is being wrapped, that's the comparison, in all white, which is not actually true. So go write down some things for how it is a metaphor. And what metaphors do is it helps us understand the text a little bit more. So how does this metaphor help us understand the text? It gives us a more visual idea of what's happening when Lincoln arrives, and it tells us how the blizzard looks. He's completely wrapped in white, which means the whiteness surrounds him. So it's describing the blizzard that's happening in the story. So for how this helps me understand the text, describes the blizzard. Go. So when we're dealing with the metaphors, we're looking for things that are not really literal. So when we're looking at that first metaphor, wrapped in an Arctic whiteout, you cannot get wrapped up in something like the whiteout. It's just describing how it feels like and what it's like when you are surrounded by something. All right, so now I would like you to go to paragraph 9 and reread paragraph 9 super quickly. Try and look for the metaphor. Go. All right, it's okay if you didn't find the metaphor. Again, it's really hard. It says, it's this one right here. It says, I have walked into these pictures. So I would like you to, metaphor number 2, write down, I have walked into those pictures, copy and paste, go, write the paragraph number. All right, so what's actually happening in this paragraph is Lincoln just met Cusick, and he kind of recognizes that Cusick is an Eskimo. So then he says, I have walked into those pictures, he said to himself. Okay, so the reason going to our graphic organizer, how is this a metaphor? This is a metaphor because you can't literally walk into a photograph. You can't walk into a picture. A picture that's up on the wall, you cannot walk into it. So you're comparing how this person walked into a photograph. Now that's not what he's actually saying. What he's actually saying is that Cusick looks identical to the Eskimos that he's seen in these pictures. So that's kind of the connection. So how is this metaphor? Can't actually walk into photographs or pictures. And then how does this help us understand the text? It helps us understand that Lincoln has an idea of who Eskimos are. He's seen pictures of it, and now he's making the connection that Cusick is an Eskimo that he's kind of learned and seen through pictures at his home. So kind of write down those two things. Go. All right, and the question on the bottom, we're going to apply it, look for the metaphors. It says, check the box next to each detail that uses a metaphor. So if I actually identified 2 metaphors, there's one more metaphor that you're going to have to identify. So read through all of them. We found 2 of them. I want you to see if you can find the third. Write down the third on your homeschool log so we can see how you did. Go. All right, and that's it for me on ELA mini lesson number 13 about metaphors. This one was a little bit harder just because it's asking you to kind of think outside the box and think non-literally. So we're kind of extending that non-literal language. Hope you liked it. Hope you followed along. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you later. Bye.